Nketia, wow, menim. Adi ese party officer, wo dwane ya meba bia gate is abompie ya kunipa no. Hwe hu hie. Die ebesi ebeya wo.
700,000 in his own eastern region. And having been the luckiest president Ghana has ever had, President Akufo-Addo in 6 years has had over 500 billion in terms of revenue from taxes, loans, and receipts from oil, gold, cocoa, and other natural resources. It is therefore our expectation that President Akufo-Addo will use his tour as a golden opportunity to showcase the achievement of his government in the Ashanti region to the whole world. However, many are still left to wonder what exactly it is that President Akufo-Addo came to do in the Ashanti region after 4 days. As the usual excitement, pomp and pageantry that in times past greeted his visit to that region were this time round replaced with widespread discontent, disaffection, and in some cases outright anger. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, one notable development that was palpable, was the palpable show of disapproval of the performance of President Akufo-Addo by the good people of the Ashanti region, the stronghold of the New Patriotic Party. As you all know, in the early days of his administration, the reception accorded President Akufo-Addo anytime he visited Kumasi was one near hero's welcome. However, this time round, President Akufo-Addo and his entourage were at the receiving end of boos and jeers from onlookers, notably in the central business district of Asiedu and other parts of Kumasi. This massive show of disaffection is a reflection of the general mood of the people in the Ashanti region, and also a clear indication that his bad policies have hit home, and the stronghold of the stranglehold of the New Patriotic Party in the Ashanti region is fast waning. It is also an indication that President Akufo-Addo's continuous misrule and mishandling of the affairs of Ghana have occasioned a great suffering for all of us, of which the Ashanti region is no exception. And if President Akufo-Addo and his government wanted a referendum on his tenure, then that was a message so clear enough from the Ashanti region. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the media, another low point of President Akufo-Addo's tour was his address of visually impaired persons, as well as the people of Kwabri East and Manso, in very demeaning and condescending terms. The cold reception that was accorded President Akufo-Addo and his long retinue of ministers and government officials seemed to have ruffled him so much and sent him into throwing tantrums that are very unworthy of the high office of president. To have stated that only blind people cannot see his so-called good works is a spite in the face of our brothers and sisters who are visually impaired in the most unfortunate way. Let me take this paragraph again for emphasis. Another low point of President Akufo-Addo's tour was his addressing of visually impaired persons, as well as the people of Kwabri East, and Manso in very demeaning and condescending terms. The cold reception that was accorded by President Akufo-Addo and his long retinue of ministers and government officials seemed to have ruffled him so much and sent him into throwing tantrums that are very unworthy of the high office of president. To have stated that only blind people cannot see his so-called good works is to spite our brothers and sisters who are visually impaired in the most unfortunate way. At a time that leaders across the world are making cautious efforts at building inclusive societies, President Akufo-Addo must not be seen to encourage comments that have the potential to empower people with known disabilities. Perhaps the height of the president's effusion was his response to a request from the people of Fabri concerning the nature of their roads. During a live radio interview on Otek FM, President Akufo-Addo was reminded by the host of a long-standing request from the people of Fabri and Manso about the deplorable nature of their roads. In response, President Akufo-Addo inexplicably called the bluff of the people of Fabri East and Manso over their threat to vote for the NDC if he fails to do something about the poor nature of their roads. President Akufo-Addo is on record to have told the people to go ahead and do their worst, because in his words, nobody forced them to elect him into office. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we are talking here about Fabri is the constituency that gave President Akufo-Addo over 85,000 votes in the 2020 election, the highest he received in any constituency in the whole country. Clearly, power has gotten into the head of the president, so much so that he doesn't care a hoot about the plight of countrymen and women. President Akufo-Addo's shameless determination to appropriate for himself credit and glory for projects that were commenced by the erstwhile Mahama NDC administration was once again on full display. One such project was the commissioning of a 330 kV transmission line from Kumasi to Bolgatanga to facilitate the sale of power to Burkina Faso at Angomaso in Oforiko. This project was one of the handiwork of the visionary nation builder, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for Ghana's energy sector. Which ensured that we had enough generation capacity in order to export the rest for cash. By way of a brief history of this project, work on the project commenced on 2016 and was scheduled to be completed by 31st July 2018. Funding for same was secured from Alliance Française de Développement. A funding of $174 million was secured by the Mahama government from Alliance Française de Développement, in addition to a $5 million EU grant dedicated to project management and supervision. Indeed, it is sad that the very people who accuse President Mahama of generating so much megawatts of power than needed are now busily claiming credit for commissioning mere transmission lines that were just to aid the realization of the bigger vision to export power to neighboring Burkina Faso. After unduly delaying the completion date of the project, which was scheduled to be 2018, President Akufo-Addo 4 years down the line now seeks to once again reap what he has not sown by coming to commission it and failing to recognize the enormous contribution of his predecessor. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, President Akufo-Addo also at his first stop during his rather empty tour was to commission a 60-bed district hospital at Konongo, the capital of the Asante Central District. It is important to underscore the fact that this project was started by the Mahama NDC administration, but very typical of President Akufo-Addo, he refused to give credit where it is due. At the same time, President Akufo-Addo conveniently neglected other key projects initiated in the area of health by the erstwhile Mahama NDC administration to help